Welcome into the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Senior. Coming up on today's show, a 49ers free agency roundup, but also we're going to take a look at the top cut candidates on the 49ers roster to free up some cash going into free agency. First, though, shout out to Manscaped for making today's show possible and their brand new ultra premium collection, 5 elite products for a grand total of $39.99. You can get 20% off and free shipping by plugging in that link down below. It's manscaped.com/49ers. Enter the promo code 49ers for that deal to apply. We'll tell you more about the ultra premium collection coming up here in just a few moments. Now, John Lynch has done a lot of talking at the NFL Combine from Indianapolis, so let's get you caught up on what he had to say and the latest rumors out there in the offseason pertaining to free agency as well. John Lynch did say that Javon Kinlaw, former first-round pick, a defensive tackle, the rehab is going well coming off that torn ACL. He also said the 49ers open to re-signing cornerback Jason Verrett, who I think would be a good depth piece. He, too, coming off a torn ACL. Alex Mack has been an elite center for a long time. Signed that one-year deal with the 49ers. John Lynch is optimistic that Alex Mack is going to return to the 49ers for yet another season in what has been a very long and successful NFL career. There were some rumblings about 49ers running backs coach Bobby Turner retiring. Ultimate Football Guy is going to take off 2022, having a couple of procedures done surgically to help out some knee issues. He does plan on returning in 2023, though. Guy's in his 70s. He just absolutely loves ball, one of the best running backs coaches in the history of the NFL. Nick Bosa, Deebo Samuel, going into the final years of their respective rookie contracts. John Lynch said those guys are 49ers. They're going to be 49ers. One of my predictions back several weeks ago was that both of them are going to get contract extensions, like what happened with George Kittle, like what happened last offseason with Fred Warner. The 49ers organizational philosophy, get their homegrown talent paid early. Also, John Lynch, an additional item, saying that DJ Jones has made it hard for the 49ers to re-sign him with how well he played. And he did say, look, yes, I was offered by Amazon a lot of money, but my heart and soul is with the San Francisco 49ers. So that is your 49ers rumors roundup. From that, we shift to the San Francisco 49ers cut candidates. Right now, San Francisco is 22nd in the NFL in terms of cap space, so they do have a lot of decisions to make. We'll get to those cut candidates, but first, here's a look at the offseason calendar, and here on the 49ers Report, we have you covered with everything. That's why you hit that big red button to subscribe down below as we approach 60,000 subscribers. NFL Combine going down right now. March 14th to the 16th, free agency negotiations open. March 16th is the start of the new league year and the much-anticipated NFL Draft, kicking off from April 28th to the 30th. We, of course, have you covered with all of your 49ers offseason coverage. Let's now transition to the top 49ers cut candidates, and we begin with Jimmy Garoppolo. Of course, the likelihood and the most ideal scenario for the 49ers is that they trade him to get some draft compensation back, maybe even a player mixed in as well. But the shoulder surgery that he is set to undergo over the next week could change things. Ian Rappaport saying it is a torn capsule in his throwing shoulder. He is not going to be able to throw for the next 16 weeks. Now, John Lynch, as well as Adam Schefter, said that's not expected to alter his trade value. It's a quarterback undergoing shoulder surgery, so I actually think it is going to impact his trade value. What would happen if the 49ers cut Jimmy G? They could free up $25.5 million in cap space by outright cutting him. He is only due $1.4 million in dead cap for 2022. And I do think the most likely scenario is the 49ers do trade him to one of the quarterback-starved teams across the National Football League. But I think we could be trending in a direction where if the 49ers want to move forward with Trey Lance and they can't find good value back for Jimmy G and they kind of get put into a hole where they want to save $25.5 million, maybe they do cut him. Now, I think Garoppolo does have a lot of value as a trade candidate. Yes, he's been off injured, but he's won a lot of football games, helped lead the Niners to 2 NFC championship games over the last 3 years. This past year, completed 68% of his passes, above league average for nearly 4,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 12 picks. If I'm John Lynch, I'm Adam Peters, and I'm Kyle Shanahan, this entire front office, you come together and you decide what you want to do. You want to sign Nick Bosa and Deebo Samuel to this contract extension. So freeing up $25.5 million will allow you to do that. If you do trade him, though, there are a couple things that are in play. You free up that money, but also you help absorb the blow of giving up future draft capital for Trey Lance, and you get some picks back for moving up for Lance back in a Jimmy Garoppolo trade. That's the most ideal scenario for San Francisco this offseason, and the Jimmy G trade speculation and trade news, if it does happen, is going to be one of the biggest storylines across the National Football League. Now, you moved up to number 3 to take Trey Lance. You gave up future picks as well. Even if you get a second, third-round pick and maybe a player like a cornerback back for Jimmy G, it helps you in the immediacy of the moment, but it helps you build for the future as well. So we'll see what happens on the Jimmy Garoppolo trade front. We've been covering these trade rumors for a really long time. We're going to continue to keep you updated right here on the channel. Another reminder to subscribe. So what do you want the Niners to do with Jimmy G, and what would you do if you're John Lynch? Type T for trade, type C for cut. Make sure you get those votes in the comment section down below, and let's hear it from you down in the comment section. As I mentioned off the top, today's show presented to you by the fine folks at Manscaped, and their new Ultra Premium collection, it is straight up fantastic. You get body spray, their new body wash product, shampoo and conditioner, deodorant, as well as chapstick. All of these products available right now on sale for 20% off and free shipping if you go to manscaped.com/49ers and enter the promo code 49ers. $39.99 for all of these products is a straight-up steal. Manscaped is offering this deal for the Niner gang, for the faithful, and for the Niner Empire. I'm going to put that link in the comment section as well as the description of this video. You can be smelling good for your significant other, and you want to be smelling good all the time, especially around your coworkers as well. This takes care of all of that. Cop it right now. Next cut candidate for the 49ers, maybe the most obvious one, and that's Dee Ford. Really unfortunate what's happened to him over the last couple of years. He comes out of Auburn. He goes to the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a phenomenal pass rusher. In the short sample size when he was in the Bay, he was great. Here's the problem, though. Neck, back injuries. He's played 18 games over the last 3 years. In 2022, his cap hit comes in at $11.9 million and has a $14.4 million dead cap hit. Now, the dead cap number does drop to $9.5 million at some point here soon. His post-June 1st cut cap savings is $2.4 million. His post-June 1st cut dead money is at $9.5 million. Now, this kind of flew under the radar back a couple months ago. Ford did agree to a revised deal that paid out the remaining guarantees from the original 5-year, $85 million contract that he had signed after that acquisition was made official when he came to the 49ers from the Kansas City Chiefs. And let's be real, did the 49ers make it to the Super Bowl back in 2019 without the stellar play of Dee Ford prior to him going down with that injury? Probably not. And this guy, when he's healthy, is a very, very good player. And in 6 games this year, even when he bounced back from those respective injuries, he played pretty solid in those 6 games. Now, from a tackle standpoint, he didn't do much, but was still able to compile 3 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 1 forced fumble. It's unfortunate what happened with Dee Ford because when the 49ers made that move, they addressed a position of need, and he was really good in that first year in the Bay back in 2019. But when you're running a business, you have to own up to your mistakes, and you have to realize that, hey, we made a mistake, we have to move on. So it's unfortunate what happened to Dee Ford. You've paid him a lot of money, but it is time to cut your losses if you're John Lynch and this front office. It's certainly been a frustrating tenure for Ford in a Niner uniform. What is your one word to describe Dee Ford's tenure with the Niners? Frustrating? Short? You let me know in the comment section right now. Another cut candidate It's Samson Ebukam. Now, this might not be popular among the fan base, but let's take a look at the savings that the 49ers would have at their disposal if they do decide to let go of Samson Ebukam, who the 49ers signed to that 2-year deal in free agency back in 2021. Cutting Ebukam would give the 49ers $6.5 million in savings at a position of strength along that defensive line. Post June 1, Ebukam's dead cap hit is only $1.75 million. He's entering the final year of his contract, so there's not a significant blow if you do decide to let go of Samson Ebukam. Really, to your advantage, you save $6.5 million. He had a pretty good 2021. Now, this 49ers defensive scheme, it's hard to master over time. And you've seen that from some of these defensive linemen who were new acquisitions, like Samson Ebukam, like Jordan Willis, like Charles Omenihu and Arden Key. Once they do really get their fingertips on the system, they end up playing well. Samson Ebukam, coming off that free agency deal, he didn't play great, but on the back half of the year, he did play well and ended the year with 38 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 11 quarterback hits for a rotational pass rusher is pretty good to go along with 4.5 sacks. Now, I talk about this defensive line being an area of strength for San Francisco, and it needs to be because the back end is really mediocre or maybe slightly above average. Nick Bosa, hopefully Javon Kinlaw comes back off that torn ACL like Bosa did this past year. DJ Jones set to be a free agent. He's going to have suitors. He's going to have an opportunity to get the bag. Does that come from another team or San Francisco? We will see. You still have Eric Armstead, Arden Key set to be a free agent. So too is Kentavious Street and Mo Hurst. Charles Omenihu played well. Jordan Willis played well, who's also going to be a free agent. So you have some depth there. You can absorb a little bit of a blow. If you free up $6.5 million and you decide to spend that elsewhere, or maybe you give that money to a player like Arden Key and or DJ Jones, it helps you along that same position or at a different position of need for the Niners. What would you do? Really difficult decision because I like the upside. I like the ability of Samson Ebukam, a guy who's still in his mid-20s. Would you cut him? Y for yes, N for no. Once again, you let me know down below. And if the 49ers make a roster move, we'll be the first to let you know because this is what we do here on the Niners Report, covering the latest news, rumors. When breaking news happens, we push out videos within the hour, live shows, watch parties during the year. We literally do it all here on the channel, so join the faithful family here at Chat Sports by hitting that red subscribe button. Other ways for the 49ers to free up some cash, this coming from Over the Cap. A Jimmy Ward contract extension and an Eric Armstead contract restructure would clear enough cap space to sign a top free agent or two. If the 49ers extend Ward in the coming weeks, they will immediately save $6.3 million. That's why I always go after some of these salary cap nerds when they're like, oh, there's no way that the Niners can afford this player. There are always ways to tinker with the cap and pull off some salary cap gymnastics. As far as Eric Armstead, that contract didn't look good at the start of this year, but on the back half of the year, he literally was one of the best defensive linemen. Not just defensive tackles in the NFL, and of course him going from edge to the interior really just extended his career and made him a dominant threat. Armstead's contract, 2022, $14.2 million in base salary, cap hit of $20 million. That's a lot, no matter who you are. 2023. Little less than $16 million in base, $21.7 million cap hit. 2024, $17 million base salary, $23 million cap hit. Then he becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2025. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, out of the cards for the 49ers to sit him down and say, look, we want to continue to compete for Super Bowls. Let's tinker with that contract, throw some money on the back end to free up some money for right now so that we can continue to build this roster. So those are the 49ers cut candidates. Those are ways that the Niners can free up cash. Again, we provide you with it all here on the channel, and before we get out of here, we want to hear from you because basically the comment section here on YouTube is like a sports talk radio call-in line. So name a 49ers cut candidate, either one who I listed or somebody who I didn't list in the comment section. While you're down there, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you so much for making the 49ers Report a part of your day.